back everyone to another Redstone video, and today, as you probably have guessed from the title of this video, we are going to be looking at Redstone for Dummies Part 2. That's right, Part 2. So in this video I'm going to be doing a part of Redstone that I really neglected, and that is rails. So rails have always mystified me and even annoyed me and are kind of complicated even though they seem very simple. So if you don't know what a rail is, it's basically a system of tracks, for example, tracks, and then a minecart. And basically what it is, it's a way to move faster, to get from one place to another faster in Minecraft. I mean, in Minecraft, in 1.11 we have the Elytra. I have no idea how to say that, but that's the best I can come up with. Horseback, pig, which is very slow. Same with like llamas, which are also, I mean, they're basically horses. And then we have boats. So yeah, other than that, there's like, those are literally 3 other modes of transportation. So minecarts are incredibly helpful, especially for going underground. Alright, so we're going to take a look at first a bunch of the minecarts and then a bunch of the rails and how they work. Alright, so let's start it off. So first we have the classic minecart. And this classic minecart holds entities, but mostly just mobs and players. I don't think it can actually hold like other entities, like item frames or stuff like that, but it definitely holds, it can hold players, as you probably saw earlier. I can just jump in this, and that's like the whole point, but it also hold mobs. So for example, I put this blaze right here, and then I push it, and the blaze goes inside the minecart. So I'm going to kill this right now, just so that way it doesn't annoy us later with its volume. Okay. So next we have the minecart with the chest. So minecart with chest, pretty straightforward. It can hold stuff. I mean, very useful for like long distance transportation. Then we have the minecart with a furnace. And so I will be talking about this minecart with furnace later. It's a very interesting device. But so basically a minecart with furnace, as you can see, I have this set up here. It's basically like a really rudimentary attempt at an engine by Mojang. For example, I right-click here. In survival, I would need coal, but in creative, I can just right-click, and it moves forward on its own for like 5 seconds. Not even, it's like 1 second, and it pushes this minecart here in this case. So, these used to be helpful, but with powered rails now, they're completely useless, in my opinion at least. Let me know in the comments if you have found like a design for something that you only uses furnace minecarts. Next, one of my favorite and most useful, in my opinion, is the hopper minecart. So the hopper minecart is, I mean, it's whatever. It has its function as a hopper, like yada yada. It doesn't really matter as much, right? Except not. Hopper minecarts are ridiculously amazing. So let me just get this thing started right here. Push it. Give it a little push. And since these are powered rails, I'll go over them later. But, I mean, you could probably tell what they do just from this. But, so basically you're like, okay, whatever. Why are there so many blocks? So, believe it or not, I can actually throw, let's say, a stack of redstone. I just throw that on there, and it picks it up. You're like, oh, but it's glass. It's a transparent block. But, put it on that, and bam, it picks it up. And it's ridiculously fast. So, since it can pick objects through blocks, they're really helpful for like underground systems where you don't have to see it, and they're way cheaper than having a whole thing of hoppers. Plus, they can be very helpful because you do not have to see them. For example, this could be like my floor of my base. I just want to pick up, or like of a mine shaft, and I don't have to see all these gross hoppers everywhere. It's really cheap, it's really efficient, and it's just amazing. It's incredible the way this works. So that's why it's my favorite. Next we have the minecart with TNT, and you guys all probably know what that is. So let's take a look at this. Again, these are powered rails. I will show you the mechanics later in this video. There we go. Flick that lever. Bam! Explodes. So the explosion power of the minecart with TNT is based on how fast it is moving before it explodes. So, for example, if there's just normal rails here like this, then it would have a lesser explosion than what you saw. Alright, or blast radius, I think. So now we have the command block minecart. All of these, by the way, are craftable in vanilla Minecraft survival mode, except for the command block and the minecart, which is for obvious reasons. To be perfectly honest, I am not very good at command blocks, guys, and I don't know what the function of this is for. Basically, you can input a command and, like, I guess, transport it? I don't know, guys. I mean, I will be talking about this a little bit later, but if you are looking for more info on command block minecarts, let me know in the comments, and I will do my research and I might make a video just on that, on command blocks in general. Okay, so moving on, we have ourselves. Well, now that we've gone past all of the different types of minecarts, let's start talking about all the different types of rails. So first off, we have ourselves this minecart, which I just put on a normal rail. So normal rails are like the basic building blocks of rails. So they have no power. So for example, my input velocity is that much, and as you can see, it just sort of dwindles to a stop. Actually, in this case, it came right up against this block, which can kind of make it look a bit like sketchy. But if I just give it a little bit of less of a push, you can see it just dwindles and it just stops. So, right? And so these are just the normal rails, but there is a huge advantage to using these normal rails, and that is they can turn. So you can create something like that. I don't know why you would do that, but you can do that. But so basically you have a long string, and then you can turn. So this turning mechanism is a bit weird. For example, if I were to do something like this doesn't work because they cannot. It's really weird the way this works, but the rails do not turn up blocks. So this could work. You can do something like this to get around that, but unfortunately, you cannot just go like that. It will just hit the block. However, this design has been used for some pretty cool contraptions. So, yeah. Next, what we have is the powered rails. So, powered rails basically make minecarts go faster and are able to go more. And they're very cool, in my opinion. Yeah, they're basically like the reason this minecarts are actually useful. So if I flick this lever, well, actually, sorry. First, before I get ahead of myself, let me just say that powered rails require redstone to activate. So you can see I have this one lever wired up to 1, 2, and 3. It's hard to see, but if I move this a little bit, you can see there's a powered rail right there. And so basically, what this does is it will allow the minecarts to just keep traveling back and forth. Because so the way minecarts work is when they hit a block, they unpower, they just stop, and then they repower again, which is a very interesting mechanic. But also, sorry, I'm even getting ahead of myself even more. If a minecart is it's on a power rail, it's right next to a block, and I turn that and I activate that power rail by like flicking this lever, for example, the minecart will move. It will move in the opposite direction of the block. So as you can see, I can use this to create something like this, an endless system. So that's like the basics of the that's the basics of the power rail. But so a good use of a powered rail, I can't even speak, is to make minecarts go up, because normally even it's just, as you can see, it's difficult, it's slow, but I'm a player, so I can actually move inside minecarts. It's slow, but I can do it. However, other mobs cannot, and minecarts, for example, minecarts with chests, and I don't know what happened here. Minecarts with chests and minecarts with hoppers and TNT and command blocks, and even furnaces cannot move uphill on their own. Furnaces would require coal or maybe even wood to go uphill, but normally other things cannot. So if I flick this lever here, you see it goes uphill very quickly and then drops down onto this sort of rail thing. Also, this is a very cool thing where if you have a minecart falling, it will catch on to another rail. So that can also be used to create some epic roller coasters. Okay, before I get ahead of myself here, let's just to finish off powered rails. Oh my god, I cannot speak, guys, today. What we have is powered rails transmit their signal from one to the other. So I told you earlier they need redstone to work. But for example, I have this one powered rail that's powered, but if I put another powered rail next to it, that's also powered. So that works for 9 rails. So, for example, we can get around this by having 9 this way and then 9 that way, with one shared block. So that's 17 rails in total, being only powered by one source. And then, as you can see, that powers every single rail, and the minecart just keeps going back and forth. So the coolest part about this, in my opinion, is unlike many other redstone mechanics, if I were to do this, right, you could see the signal strength is really low. If I do this, all the rails turn back on. And guys, I really apologize for this zombie right here. I just don't know how to get rid of it. I don't want to. Okay, whatever. But so that's a really interesting function of the powered rail. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to look at sort of detector rails. So detector rails are a bit icky. So here, let me just quickly grab one so I can show you. This is what a detector rail looks like when it's unpowered. When it's powered, it will look like this, except this sort of like red outline you guys can see will turn bright red, like these rails here, the powered rails. Jeez. So the cool thing about this is when a minecart's on it, it will activate a redstone signal that will activate all powered rails near it and activator rails, which I will go over later in the video. Plus, it can also be taken a redstone output using redstone dust or a redstone repeater. However, you cannot use a block output from it. So, for example, a block and then redstone does not work, or a block and then a repeater, it will not work. So it's a very cool thing, and to be honest, you can use this to set a bunch of like trigger traps in motion and things like that. I'm not particularly a minecart genius, but if you guys really want, guys, leave a bunch of comments and like this video and give this video tons of views, then I will make a video about my bunch of creations using every single one of these mechanics. And I will just, I don't know, it'll be really cool and fun. So anyways, so this works for, this same thing works for every single one of minecarts. It doesn't have to be an empty one, it could be with a chest. Also, guys, I really apologize for the sounds. I'm going to lower some of these zombie things. I'm not sure if you could, okay. So, but anyways, the cool thing about detector rails is that when a minecart with a chest or a hopper minecart is on a detector rail, and then you fill that up, you can actually take a comparator block output from that minecart with chest. And you're probably like, oh, well, I bet you can do that regardless. Well, you actually cannot. And let me just show you right now. So if I put that there, this minecart, there, you saw earlier, here, I'll even put them right next to each other so you can tell. So this one has 2 items in it, turn that comparator on. This one, 2 items in it, comparator does not turn on. So this is really cool and can be very useful for some devices, especially my favorite is having an automatic transportation system. For example, me and Geek, we made our own survival server, and well, not server, like world, and we played on it, and we decided to move from one base to another, and we use a system like using this mechanism right here to transport all the items. Yeah, and so that also works with hoppers, same thing. I don't really have to go over that. Okay, so that's really all there is for the detector rail. Plus, there's one more thing that I'm going to show you guys, and that is if I have something like this here. As you can see, this will give off sort of like a button signal. So it's not going to permanently. It'll be like pressing a button, right? And if you guys don't know what a button is or something like that, you're having some issues with buttons, just look at Redstone for Dummies Part 1, and yeah. And you'll learn all about the button. So, last but not least, the activator rail. My opinion, well, as you guys know, I always save the most difficult things for last. For example, in my last Redstone for Dummies video, I saved the comparator for last because the comparator is ridiculous. And this one, I'm saving the activator rails for last. Activator rails, by the way, are not as ridiculous as comparators, so don't get so crazed out by that. But still, are pretty weird. So first what we have is activator rails right here on this minecart with a hopper. You're probably like, what? What? This doesn't make any sense. Also, before I start, I would like to say that over detector rails and activator rails, I forgot to mention this before, they act as if the minecart itself was going over normal rails, so it will lose speed over time, like I showed you guys in the beginning of the video. It'll be like that instead of like power rails where it goes crazy. Okay, so basically, I can just throw things into this hopper all day and all night, right? 64 of redstone, and that's right in there. Alright, so I just took that out, just so you guys know. Now let's activate these activator rails and throw that back in. As you can see, it does not pick up the item. I just picked it up again. If you guys don't believe me, let's try this again with 3 redstone. Well, we'll just do 2. 1, 2. You can see it goes right through. It does not pick up. Now I'll just, for final testing, where did that go? Oh, because I turned it off. But 1, 2, activator rails off, and it picks it up. So this can be very useful for some redstone contraptions. I'm pretty sure I don't really have any examples at the top of my head, but perhaps if you're like if you have it with a comparator output, that if the hopper is full, no, then that'd be dumb. I honestly don't know, guys. But if you want, again, if you really want me to learn about this, if you want more information, if you want me to build stuff about this, I can. I would be happy to do the research and all the building. But I want to make sure you guys actually want this. Alright, so next what we're going to do is put our good friend Blaze inside this minecart. You know what's funny? This is on camera, and this is going really smoothly. But earlier, I tried for like literally a good 10 minutes to get that Blaze over there in its minecart. Alright, so anyways, now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this activator rail, and you're going to see what's going to happen. So basically, activator rails on normal minecarts, they eject whatever is in them, whether that's a player like me. So this could be helpful for maybe like end of roller coasters, or if you're having a mob farm, I can definitely see this being useful, transporting mobs from one place to another, kicking them out of the minecart. So yeah, that's for the normal minecart. Now command block minecart. So, the command block minecart it's a bit complicated. As I said earlier, I'm not really good with the whole command block thing, but I'm going to try my best. So, basically, I have a command here, time set night. As you can see, it is completely daytime. There is no way it's night. I have game rule, do daylight cycle false, which is, by the way, if you guys don't know, it is basically where the time will never change. It's going to be like that forever, unless if I manually change it. And so basically, by activating this activator rail, in fact, I'm not even going to put the lever there because I think you guys might think that I'm cheating. I'm going to put the lever all the way over here. And it's going to keep activating that command forever. It's like a free repeat button. However, I would say that this is probably not as useful anymore as it would have been back in the, like a while back, because, I mean, we now have the weird command blocks that can do all the repeat functions and all that stuff. By the way, guys, if you want to learn more about command blocks, as I said earlier in this video, I will happily make a command block video for you guys, which is I want to make sure you guys like it. Alright, and so my favorite of all time use of the activator rails, the only thing I actually use activator rails for on my own servers, and that is for the whole minecart TNT. So you guys are probably thinking, well, if you hook the redstone up, it's probably just going to blow up because of that. So a way around that is probably going to be for me to do this, grab the activator rail, and do it like that. Okay, so let's see this explosion. So yeah, that's basically it. So I don't know if you could tell, but when it's weird that it didn't blow this up, but when the TNT was exploding, it had a delay versus earlier in the video when I showed you this TNT mechanism over here, which just fire the TNT explode on impact. And so I can actually see this. So I love to use this, but not for the right. This is usually the thing I use for like setting my Geek's house on fire and it blowing it up sort of thing. I don't know what a real sort of Minecraft practical use would be for this, but it is definitely really fun. So I would definitely use this, guys. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like and a comment down in the comment sections below. And if you really love this video, please subscribe. So, also, just so you guys remember what I've said earlier in the video, please comment if you want me to make a command block video dedicated to all the command block and commandy blocky thingies, and also leave a video comment leave a video comment if you would like me to make a minecart creation yeah, sort of creation world where I just show you guys a bunch of creations using all of these mechanisms that I've showed you guys today. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Dadu's out.